So welcome to our initial Bootcamp Kickoff call for the Rise Up Bootcamp. I do have, I offered some people, or I posted the link for the people in my Self-Love Fit Club, like an ongoing group that I have. It was the last group that I was running. So there's some veterans in here, and then, I'm gonna turn this light on. And then a lot of new people. So I'm going to say some things that probably are, if you've been with me for several groups, are going to be refreshers. But I just want to go over kind of the meal plan and my thoughts and expectations and my take on it. And then talk about some things that I'm seeing and stuff coming up. And then, of course, if this is your first time on here, there is a little feature at the bottom that says chat. So you can type in any questions that you have and just feedback and whatever. And then that way we can communicate. You also have the capability to unmute yourself so you can talk to me. But I wanted to jump into the meal plan and just cover off on some basics. So no matter what program we do, no matter what program I'm running for my boot camp, I always have everyone start following the same meal plan. And that is the original 21-day fix meal plan. And I like that one because that's the only one that allows you to, on plan, work in treats a few times a week. And so whatever program you're doing, we all follow that one. But even that one is like, it's just a lot of rules and still a lot of structure, and it still reinforces a diet mentality to some extent because anything, like if you're following rules, you're following a diet. So, and I'm not really a fan of diets, but I do think that there is value in kind of hitting a reset button. And I know that, people, myself included, had followed diets for years and had kind of learned that there is food that is good food, and then there's food that's bad food, like food that you can have that is always welcome on diets, like broccoli and chicken. And then there's food that like you're not allowed to have. And so I think if I were to just have you join the group and just say, okay, eat, what's it called? Intuitive eating, where you just like eat what you want when you want. It's not enough structure and it's not enough rules. And so I think you need to regain control. And this is something, now I eat mostly lifestyle now. I don't really follow fully the 21-day fix anymore, hardly ever, unless I need to hit my reset button, unless I've been kind of YOLOing out of control for a while. And honestly, it used to take me a lot longer to feel like I was in control. And now it just takes me a couple days to get back. But it does mean, like, I think a lot of people join because they want that lifestyle plan. They don't want to follow a diet. They don't want to have to limit those things that they love. And I'm going to get you there. But it's not going to be without effort. It is going to be hard. You are going to have cravings that you're not going to indulge. You are going to want to have treats that you're not going to indulge. You're not going to choose it, because the biggest thing that I want you to think about from today until forever is consciously choosing the food that you eat. And when you do that, I think a lot of times we think people, you've heard people say, and you may have even said, like, oh, I would diet, but I just like food too much. And like, I like food a lot too, but I think that that's like an excuse we give ourselves, because really, if you are like in tune with your body, then it doesn't feel good to just be binging on shit all the time. It feels better to eat food that gives you energy and makes you feel like clean and vibrant and alive and makes you feel strong in your workouts and helps you sleep well. And then choosing with intention when you want to treat yourself to something. And that feels really good. So we will get you to that point. But to start, I think it's important to hit the reset button. So I do like you to follow the 21-day fix and try to really follow it as close as you can for 30 days at least, until you feel in control. Now, some of you who have been with me for a while, it might not need 30 days anymore, but maybe you need a reset button post holidays, and maybe you need a week, or maybe you need 2 weeks. And that means that you are, like right now, I am hitting the reset button. And it has been hard. I am on day 4 of eating on plan again. I am back to, I'm not measuring anymore with the containers, but I am back to counting like food groups. And so the one thing that I love about the 21 Day Fix, that meal plan, is that it does give you a guideline of what to eat and how often, right? So I think it's great to try to get all of the containers in. To some of you, that's going to feel like a lot of food because, you know, maybe you're supposed to be eating 1,500 calories a day. Well, it's a lot harder to get 1,500 calories of, you know, veggies and lean protein than it is in a pizza and Cheeto diet. So it's going to feel like you're eating a lot more to get those calories, but it's really important that you do eat all of your containers. And if you feel like you're stuffing yourself and like you just can't, you cannot possibly eat all the food, then at least make sure you're getting a variety in. So you're not like leaving out all the protein, and you're not leaving out all the veggies. Like you're getting all of the food groups in, the fats, the proteins, the carbs, the fruits, the, you know, veggies, everything in, so that you're getting a balanced meal. But the reason that I think it's just really important to follow it is because so many of us are out of control right now, where we're just eating because it's there, or because we're in the habit of it, or because we don't see the point of eating healthy. And some of you will do this. You have committed to this. It's a 6-week program, and 2 weeks in, you're going to be like, I don't see results. What's the point? I don't understand. This is taking so much of my effort, and I'm not seeing results. The scale isn't budging. My clothes don't feel any different. In fact, I feel bigger. Like some of you are going to have that, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know, 3 months, a year. Like all of you will probably experience that at one point, where you're like, I don't understand why do I have to put in all this effort if I'm not seeing results? And the reason I know you'll feel that is because I still feel that sometimes. I still have moments where I'm like, God, what is the point? It's so much work to like eat clean all the time and meal plan and meal prep. And like, I still just feel like I don't have control. And sometimes I just YOLO eat. And then I just have to remind myself, like, but it's not about the weight. It's not about the physical changes. And that is what I want to hammer. And I will be working on you and your mindset for now until eternity, that it's not about your body. And that's also why I don't ask for you. Measurements are optional. I used to require measurements and scale. And then I just realized that was doing more damage than good for a lot of people. So pictures are non-negotiable. You must take pictures. If you have not taken pictures, you need to take them now. You don't have to post them, but 6 months from now or a year from now, you are going to wish you took pictures. 6 weeks from now, you're going to wish you had pictures, because there's a lot of times where you're with yourself every day. You can't see yourself changing, but if you put yourself, you know, from day 1 on to day 42, when we're 6 weeks later, you will see differences. But I don't want it to be so much about the physical, because that's when you throw in the towel. That's when you get discouraged. If you are a scale addict, I need you to not use the scale during this challenge. If you do not have an adult relationship with the scale, I need you to not use the scale at all. I need you to put it away, take it out of your bathroom, take it to your parents' house, put it in the trunk of your car, because there's still going to be some of you who feel like you need to check the scale multiple times a day to see if you're making progress. But when you leave like your success up to a scale or any physical changes, that's when you can get discouraged, because your body is an organism. It's science. It will lose the weight, it will lose the fat when it's supposed to and when it's ready. But you're probably shocking it right now. Like, you're probably sore, which is then means you're going to have water retention. Your body is going into a process where it's trying to heal the muscles. So you're probably going to be up a little bit in weight, especially if like your legs are sore, like those big muscles are sore. And maybe you're drinking more water and more fluids right now because you're supposed to, and you're just shifting everything, and it might take your body some time. And so whenever I have found in the past that I feel discouraged, like, what is the point? Why am I working so hard? I'm just gonna eat whatever today. I always end up feeling like crap, because I allow myself to eat what I want, but if I'm eating out of a self-loathing, if I leave it to just the physical side, and if I'm not seeing physical results and I don't feel like I'm leaning out enough, fast enough, then it just feels unfulfilling. This journey will always leave you unfulfilled. And I want to just work on your mind, and that is why personal development is so, so, so important. I get in an hour a day. Now, I just got back from my walk. Right now, I'm listening to the Michelle Obama book, which is incredible. I also read part of the Happiness Project this morning. It was one that I wasn't in love with, and Revi pulled it out of my bookshelf today, and I saw there was still a highlighter in it, and I was like, maybe that must be where I left off, and I started reading it, and I actually really enjoyed it today. So I just think it's really important to work on your mind, and then also try to put more of your progress based on how you're feeling. And that's what I mean when if you take care of your mind, if you actually take care of yourself and you try to eat with intention, and you come from a place of self-love, or at least a place of self-acceptance, or just not a place of self-hate, then you actually get to make choices based on what you really want. So what I mean by that is, if you're just focused on the scale, then maybe you might think, I'm going to eat fewer calories and I'm going to do an extra workout because I want to see results faster. But that's not based on health. That's based on you trying to see results faster, and then maybe they'll come initially, but that is not sustainable. And eventually it will slow down, and then you'll feel frustrated and you'll say, F it, and then you'll go, binge and abort this plan, because this is probably not the first diet that most of you have tried. And it's this cycle. But if you come from a place of health, then you can say, does it feel good to move my body every day? Is that good for me? Does it feel good to go to fast food, to go to the fast food drive-through every day? Does that feel good? And the answer is, that doesn't feel good. It does feel good to move your body. It does feel good to eat veggies and clean food sometimes. And it also does feel good to go to the fast food drive-through sometimes. But it doesn't feel good all the time. And so for me, my whole well-being, that's why I used to say I was a health and fitness coach, and I've kind of shifted to health and wellness coach. And I'm always thinking about wellness. I'm always thinking about what makes me the most healthy version of me. And that is when I'm showing up and honoring my health. And sometimes that means that you go out and you celebrate on date night and you don't allow guilt after. So I feel like so many times now, we're out of control, especially after the holidays, where you're just consuming things because it's there. And so when I was at corporate, if I was feeling out of control, there's always treats. People would bring in treats every single week, sometimes multiple days, or every single day of the week. And if I was feeling out of control, I would eat it because it was there. Not because I wanted it, not because it sounded good, but because it was there. And that's not a conscious decision. Or if you have a really shitty day, and you decide you need to go to the drive-thru and you have your fast food, but then you feel like crap after, right? Because all of a sudden you just find yourself in the drive-thru, and that's not really a conscious decision. You think, when you have a really crappy day, what would make you feel better? Controlling the one thing you can, which is taking care of yourself. Because there's a lot of outside forces that you can't control, but the one thing that you can control is how you show up for yourself. And sometimes I'll think when I'm out of control. So I give the example this summer when I was in Portland, and it was another time that I had been YOLOing. It was post France. I was just eating whatever, because I call them WTF meals, where it's WTF, yeah, I'll have that. Why not? Why the F wouldn't I? Sure. Yeah. Even though I don't need it, right? And I gave the example, if you guys follow me on social media, I talked about it on my stories, how I wanted to go get a coffee, and I thought, I'm going to get a scone, because why the F not? WTF not? But I didn't really want a scone. I didn't need a scone. That was going to set me up for a sugar spike and then crash early in the day. It was also going to set the tone for the day, that I would just eat like crap the rest of the day. And it was just why am I doing this? Because that was the habit that I was in. So instead, it was a huge non-scale victory for me that morning when I walked into the coffee shop and I got a coffee, and then I walked out without a scone. That was huge for me, because it was starting to break the cycle. It was a hard decision, and there were lots of more hard decisions that came after that, because I still was craving sugar and craving easy and craving convenience. And so there were several days that it was hard, but then you regain control. So that's why I think it's important to follow the plan closely in the beginning, so that it will be difficult. you will have times where you're like, but I don't want to eat this. I don't want to eat clean. I don't want to spend this effort meal planning or meal prepping. I don't want to make this choice. I just want to do what's easy, and easy is the drive-through, or easy is going into the cabinet after dinner and having those cookies because you have a sweet tooth, because that's my problem. Sugar is always my problem, and I crave it after every meal. So it's hard. It's not going to be easy, but it does get easier, and you're not saying goodbye to these things forever. You're just regaining control. So rather than saying, like, no thanks, I'm dieting, or no thanks, I can't eat that right now, it's like, no thanks, I'm just reset. I'm hitting the reset button, right? I'm just resetting right now. That's all you're doing. You're hitting the reset button, and you're regaining control. And then as you feel comfortable, I do also love that this plan allows you and encourages you to, even if you're following it to a T, to 3 times a week, you're able to replace a yellow container with a treat of your choice. And they list like some pretty minimal things, like you can replace a yellow container with a cookie. You can replace a yellow container with 7 tortilla chips. You can replace a yellow container with 4 ounces of wine. And I'm like, no. I can replace a yellow container with whatever the F treat that I want. And if I want to have a mini blizzard, then that is what I'm going to have. Now, you're not going to eat a whole cheesecake and call it 1 yellow container, right? You're not going to drink a whole bottle of wine and call it 1 yellow container. You're going to say that's like maybe 2 if you have a whole bottle of wine. But I just don't think you need to be like, oh, 3 dark chocolate Hershey Kisses is it like a yellow container treat? No, that's not. It's not. A Brookie from Domino's, that is going to be my yellow container treat. So I don't think you need to like go based on that list. I think you decide what feels good to you, because again, you want this to be a lifestyle. So I love that 3 times a week you get to make choices of when you want to treat yourself. And that is how I actually bridge the gap between, and those of you who've been with me for a while, you've heard this story, but that's how I bridge the gap between dieting and intuitive eating. Because this plan allowed me to check a box when I was having a treat. And so one day, I remember the first day, it used to always be, I'm in control, fun size candy bar. This was the story. I can have that. I'm super in control. I'll just have the 1 candy bar and then call it good. I won't need any treats for the rest of the day. Have the candy bar. Oh my God, now I just need all the candy. I need all the sugar for the rest of the day. I need another candy bar. I need 4 more. And then when I get home, I'm gonna order pizza, and then I'm gonna eat. I'm just gonna just go and eat everything in the cupboard, everything that's not nailed down, because I'll start again tomorrow. Right? That's what I used to do. And it was because I was so conditioned that there is good food and bad food, and candy was a bad food. That was not something you're supposed to have if you were trying to diet. So when I had my candy, some trigger in my brain was like, you've done something bad. You've wrecked this day. Eat whatever else. Yeah, eat whatever else you want. Start again tomorrow. And what this plan allowed me to do was to have, it was the first time that I did it, I had a handful of peanut M&Ms at work. And I was able to check it off in a box. I was able to say, this is a yellow container. And because I had more than like what they allowed me to have, I also counted it as like a teaspoon or a blue because there was peanuts inside. So I counted like the chocolate as a yellow, and then the peanuts, like I had however many, 15 peanut M&Ms. I counted as like a yellow and a blue or something for that day. But I was able to check it off without saying, oh, you're off plan, you've done something bad, now act like a psychopath and eat everything for the rest of the day and then start again tomorrow. I was able to check a box. And so that's what helped me bridge that gap where food stopped being good and bad. I allowed myself to have what I wanted as long as I could check it off. And then I just started getting more and more free and more comfortable and realizing the less I was fearful around food, the more in control I felt. And I could decide, do I want that or not? And so that's where you'll get to, but you need to start with some structure. You need to start with testing your willpower. And, you know, willpower is really like a muscle. So the more you use it, the stronger it gets. But just know, like, it's not going to be easy. I'm not promising it's going to be easy, but it will eventually get there. But in the beginning, even for me, I just got home from, so I've been YOLOing, did I already say this, since Thanksgiving. I was feeling like I was making a lot of progress. I was feeling really good. And then Thanksgiving came, and then I just haven't stopped doing whatever the hell I want since. And so I'm hitting the reset button this week, and I'm doing that for the 6 weeks, for the duration of this challenge. I will be following this plan with you, but I will be working in my treats. And my treats, like this weekend, we bought tickets forever ago to a rosé all day fest. So on Saturday, I'll be definitely having my share of yellow containers in rosé, but I'm not going to stress it. I'm not going to sweat it. It's going to be one day, because the other thing that I want you to think about is what really caused you to gain all the weight that you now want to lose. It is not the one day of having 45 glasses of rosé or whatever. I'll probably have 6 or something throughout the day. I don't know what they do, but let's just say it's not the problem. Like, if this was the old Ashley, the problem isn't that I would have 6 glasses of rosé. It's that I would, and that probably sounds like a lot if some of you aren't big drinkers. Trust me, I wish I was a lightweight, but I'm an expensive date these days. So I'll have that. And the problem is then going to be the story that I tell myself after, right? That, like, if I'm having all this wine, or if I have birthday cake at a birthday party or whatever, that I then go into a shame spiral of how I'm so fat and I'm so gross and I can't ever stick to anything and I'll never see progress and blah, blah, blah. So then you eat and eat and eat. And I know this isn't the story for everybody, but I think a lot of people that have joined this group probably know what I'm talking about. But that's what caused the weight gain. It's not splitting the bottle of champagne on date night. It's not, having pizza with your family on Friday, having the 2 slices or whatever. It's the decisions that we make after that when we're in the shame spiral, when we're beating ourselves up for eating something that we shouldn't have, right? And it's also like, I think about in the plan, it says that a quarter of an avocado. Again, those of you who have been in my groups have heard me say this, but a quarter of an avocado is a blue container. Well, I don't want to have a quarter of an avocado, because then the other quarter of the avocado gets all brown. So it's like wasteful. So I will have a half of an avocado and count it as a blue container. And I'm not going to gain 45 pounds by having an extra quarter of an avocado. However, if I thought, because having that extra quarter of an avocado meant I was off plan and off the rails, and then I decided that I wasn't doing it and I was a failure, and then I ate everything else that I could for the rest of the day, that is what causes the weight gain. Same thing with like half a banana. It's a half of a banana is a purple container. That's 1 serving of fruit, half of a banana. Okay, well, either I can let the other half go brown, or I can put it in the freezer, or I can just eat the whole banana and be okay with that, right? And so you just have to think, like, does it make sense to be stressed about the other half of the banana? Am I a failure if I have this other half of banana, even though the plan says that half of a banana is one purple serving? Am I gonna get fat or not lose weight because of this extra half of banana? No, but it's when you tell yourself that I'm a failure, or you're breaking the rules, or you're cheating on something or doing something wrong, the shame spiral and the eating that goes on after that. So again, you'll get there, but I want you guys to just follow this plan until you feel like you're in control, until you feel like you are consciously making decisions of, do I want this or do I not? And you will be able to say, like, there will be times where you are at your work party and it's free food. Like, it, for some reason, it's extremely hard to say no to free food, right? Am I right? Like, if there is any food at a party, at a catered event, or like it's hosted somehow, it's very difficult to say no. I don't know why. It could be something I don't even like, and it's just difficult to say no. But when I'm consciously choosing what I eat, it's not that hard. Because I decide, do I want that? Will that make me feel good? Does that sound good to me? Or am I just YOLOing? And then you don't, like, it doesn't feel good to eat a whole pizza all the time. It just feels good to have 2 pieces and then like a side salad. Like, that feels good and that feels balanced. Maybe you have a few beers with it. That's okay. Like, that is called living. You're allowed to live. So when you feel ready, you can add those things in, but know that treats are a part of the plan. I don't call them cheats. I don't believe in cheat meals. I don't believe in cheat days, because cheating implies you're doing something bad that you shouldn't be doing. Treating is a choice. So you can treat yourself when you want. And if you need a little structure to it, understand it's 3 days a week. You can replace a yellow container. And that's how you can kind of compartmentalize. And then as you start feeling more in control, then I would recommend in the beginning using the containers if you have them, measuring out, or it does say like serving sizes in the meal plan. It says like how much it's equivalent to, you know, like one slice of bread is a yellow container. Or a half cup of this is whatever. So measuring that so you can get an eyeball, like get an eye for what a serving should look like. And then I haven't used containers in years. I started 80-Day Obsession last year, a year ago. I started with them just to kind of get a gauge on what portion sizes look like. But again, I removed them because I don't want you guys thinking that you have to take your containers everywhere or that you're only able to eat out of containers, because again, if you're just guesstimating, if you serve yourself a plate of dinner or you like go out to eat and you order something, right? And it comes with, so I'll give you an example of a day where I went out for Mexican food. So I think on the way, we had an event one day, and on the way I had my Shakeology, and so I maybe had a red and usually I have two fruits in my Shakeology, maybe a fat or something like that. Uh-oh. Who's this? Uh-oh. Jeez. Chaos is ensuing. You going night-night?
Night-night.
Say night-night. I love you. Sorry, guys. Bean! Good night! You say bye to people? Say bye, everybody.
Bye, people.
So went out to Mexican food, had my shake. I probably put some spinach in it because I usually do. So then that was a red, a green, 2 purples, maybe a fat. Then we went out to Mexican food, and I had, guac, I had chips, I had tacos. I didn't have any drinks. And then I just decided, like, okay, what was that? That was probably 2 yellows with the chips and the tortillas that I had. It was probably like a green container with the lettuce and the tomatoes that were on my tacos. It was definitely a blue and probably an orange, but let's call it a blue and some teaspoons with the cheese and the guacamole and the avocado that I had. And then we went out to gelato after. I got gelato. I got strawberry gelato. And I counted it as a purple container. I counted it as a fruit. So all my containers all day, Mexican food, gelato, whatever. Then at night, what I had left was like a red, 2 greens. So I had protein, 2 veggies, and an orange, which is a salad. And if I wasn't following this kind of thing in my brain, I would have just ordered a pizza. Because if you go out for Mexican food and then you go out for gelato, like you're kind of like on a Sunday, it was a Sunday. You're kind of like, well, whatever, I'll start over tomorrow. So tonight I'm going to have pizza. But I felt like if I could compartmentalize this lifestyle kind of living day, and I still had to like make choices. I wasn't just like, I just ate whatever I wanted. I would have had couple margaritas and I didn't drink, so I chose no. Like I still was eating, I was eating out, but I was estimating. And then I had a salad that night. We went to Chipotle and I had a salad. And that still felt like a win that day, and not every day is going to be like that. Some days are going to be, I'm definitely going to be eating like what I, at home, like home cooked, whatever. But that day was a lifestyle day and it felt good. And I didn't beat myself up for anything. And I didn't just go off the rails because I could, because it was like a day where I wasn't dieting or something like that. So I think, starting with having some structure is going to be really helpful to get you there. And then, okay, you need to just stay out. I don't think that door latches, so she always busts in here. Anyway, okay, so I think I've talked about the meal plan. If you guys have questions, nobody is commenting anything. So if you have anything to say, or if you have any feedback, if this is resonating, if it's making sense, anything, let me know. The only other thing I wanted to just harp on is the scale. I know I mentioned like get rid of it, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more. So the scale is not our friend. We've been taught that like you should use the scale and use it as a way of measuring your progress. I just don't think that's accurate. And I feel like, oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. I don't feel like we need to know. I don't think, I mean, I have always, even in high school, I've always been on the high end of the BMI chart, where like I'm almost on the verge of obesity. And I don't feel like I've ever actually been on the verge of obesity. But I just always weigh a lot. And doctors have actually asked me, like, does this seem right? Is this right? Because you look smaller than the number, right? And it's just because of the way my body composition. So, and then just, I see so many people getting on the scale and being like celebrating if you lose 2 pounds. And it's like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean if you lose 2 pounds? Because you also don't know if, like, is it 2 pounds of fat? Is it you just took a big shit? Is it you water? Is it like, you know, or maybe you gained weight and all you did was you had a burger for dinner and it's just sitting, you know, it's just there. Like, I just don't think that it's accurate. And there are a lot of you. So I always give this example, like, how could I do this? Okay, so if this is a pound of, how could I do this? If this is a pound of fat, I'm trying to find like a smaller thing, but I don't have one. Okay, we'll use a bell and this. So a pound of fat and a pound, so this is muscle and this is fat, right? So this is probably 3 or 4 times the size of this muscle. And, but they both weigh the same. You've heard the saying, like, muscle weighs more than fat. Well, it doesn't. Muscle, a pound is a pound. It's just that muscle is more compact. So muscle takes up a much small, like, I could probably fit 3 of these bells in here. And actually, I think fat's even maybe bigger than this. I don't know what it is, 3 to 1 or whatever. But so what's happening is you're burning fat, but you're building muscle. So you might lose a pound of fat and gain a pound of muscle. The net on the scale is no change, but you're getting much smaller, right? So that's also why I just don't believe in the scale, because it's not accurate reflection of progress. I don't know how much weight I have lost in the last 7 months. Since we moved to Oregon, I have not weighed myself because I don't give a F. What I do know is I can push way harder in my workouts. I feel pretty damn amazing. My clothes are fitting that, like, when I left to move to Oregon this summer, I couldn't wear like anything in my closet. Nothing fit. And now I'm back and almost everything fits. Still not the size that I was before Rev, but I don't need to know how much my gravitational pull is on this planet. Like, I don't need to know. I don't need to know how much weight I lost. Beachbody always asks for, like, I'm doing another test group right now. I'm testing out another program for them. And they ask for my weight and I just make it up because I don't care. And some brands have reached out. They're like, hey, we'd like to send you something. We need to know your weight and your height and measurement. And I'm like, well, then I can't tell you. I have no idea what I weigh right now because it doesn't effing matter. I do know I'm getting stronger. I know what size clothes I wear for the most part. You know, I know I'm making progress in my health overall because I feel good. I feel like I'm, you know, not feeling guilty when I eat food, and I'm taking care of my mind, and my body is getting smaller, but I don't know if I'm to my pre-pregnancy weight, and it doesn't really matter, does it? Like, it really doesn't matter what you weigh. You and your doctor are the only people that know what you weigh, and it also doesn't have a bearing on health. There's a girl that I follow, and if you follow me, I just shouted her out the other day. Shannon, she's a coach on my team, Shannon. She's 6 foot tall, which you don't know when you just follow her on social media. But she posted the other day, she weighs like almost 180 pounds. And she is tiny. I mean, if she wasn't 6 foot tall, she'd probably be a size 0 or 2. Like, she's tiny, but she weighs 180 pounds. Now, she said that number effed with her mind for years because 180, that's like that's people, it's 20 pounds less than 200, right? Like, she's like, that messed with my brain for years. She is super healthy and super fit. It's just that number doesn't matter. And so I don't need you to get on the scale and tell me what you like. You don't need to know how much weight you lose over these next 6 weeks that we're working together. You don't need to know. And tell me if you think, but I need to know why. Because give me and yourself one good reason you need to know about your weight. If you're going to tell me it's because it means I'm getting healthier or I can get off medicine or something like that, it doesn't. You can get off medicine and get healthier without knowing your weight. If you're going to tell me because that means my worth or I want to get back to what I weighed in high school, okay, but that doesn't measure your worth. And you don't know if you'll ever you're not the same person you were in high school. You've gone through a lot more life since then. I just made a post about that yesterday. Like, we're all looking back to like, I want to get back to where I was, but life doesn't work that way. It's not a linear thing, and you don't move backwards. You're moving forward. That's the only direction we can go is forward, and life has ebbs and flows just like our bodies. So I really, really, really need you to not get on the scale. And I've like, those of you who've been in my boot camps for a year or more, you've seen this evolution happen because you've seen people get in their head. So I used to require weight. And then I was like, weight's optional. And then I was like, I don't want to know your weight. Like, if you want to, you can do it, but I don't want to know it. Now I'm like, get the scale out of your house. It is not allowed. It is actually forbidden. You are not allowed to step on the scale to see what you weigh or how much progress you think you're making or how much weight you're losing. You are not allowed to use the scale. Now, there will still be some of you who are getting on the scale because you don't believe me and because it's a habit and you feel addicted to it and you feel like you need to know because it tells you whether you're, making progress or if this plan is working for you or not. And there will be some of you who will post in the group and you'll say, gosh, guys, I did a bad thing. I was feeling really good. I was feeling really strong. So I got on the scale. I was excited. And it said I gained weight or it said I lost 2 pounds. What gives? Now I'm pissed off. And I'm like, remember when before you got on the scale, you were feeling good and proud of yourself and confident and happy? Why would you get on a scale and let it rob you of all of that joy? For a number that doesn't mean shit. So, and I will yell at you in all caps. If somebody makes a post in the group, I will yell at you. And if you've been in my boot camp, you've seen me do this before where I'm like, sorry, not sorry, all caps yelling at you. It's like I would shake you if I could, but the closest I can do is scream in all caps about get that scale out of your life. It doesn't serve you. The only thing that you need a scale for is to go to the post office when they weigh your package to know how much to charge you. That's the only thing that really maybe like when you're baking, there's people that do it in grams and shit. I'm like, just tell me a half cup. I don't make me weigh things, but maybe if you're like a primetime baker, maybe you need to know about the scale. You don't need to know how much your body weighs. You don't need to know how much weight you lose or gain. You just don't need to know it. So I mean business when I say this. That is one thing that is a non-negotiable. You are not going to use the scale. You're not going to step on it for 6 weeks. And at the end of 6 weeks, if you feel like you need to, because you need some sort of validation, you're going to have a pep talk with yourself first. And you're going to say, it does not matter what number comes out on this. It's not going to tell me, wow, that was amazing. I can't believe I lost 10 pounds. And it's not going to tell me, shit, that didn't work. That was a waste of 6 weeks because I only lost 2 or I gained. You're going to have a pep talk and you're going to write down all the things that you are proud of yourself for doing over these last 6 weeks. All the non-scale victories you've had, all the times that you felt more in control, all the ways you feel proud of yourself, the new clothes that you can wear, the relationship you now have with your husband because you can have a body in front of him again, right? You don't have to change in the closet behind closed doors anymore. So I have seen that happen with women where they come to me and they say, I am ashamed to have sex with my husband. I have to change I'm sorry if there's kids around, but I have to change in the closet. I won't let him see me. And then they work with me and they're showing up and they're feeling amazing and they feel confident. And then you get on the scale and you're going to let the scale tell you, nope, you don't deserve that confidence. I don't care that you've shown up for yourself every day. I don't care that you've pushed play. I don't care that you've made an effort to become a healthier version of you. I don't care because you didn't lose enough weight. So that confidence means nothing, right? Like, the scale is just not your friend. So, I mean, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's not a dead horse for many of you. And so I will just be beating that drum until I'm dead because it really is a big deal. All right, talked about the meal plan, talked about the scale. I just want to touch on modifications for the program because I have seen some people really struggling with it. Guys, there is no shame in modifying. I've seen some people say, this is not the program for me, and that's okay. If you are not into this program and you want to try a different one, speaking specifically of the Transform 20, because it's fast-paced, then you're more than welcome. I mean, you have access to everything on Beachbody On Demand. But and if it's because like you're, you know, the up, down, and whatever, there are a ton of ways to modify. Someone posted in the group, so Sean Week, if you go into your Beachbody On Demand and you do some of the workouts, maybe like 1 week you could replace the Transform 20 workouts with Sean Week workouts, because the modifier in there uses a chair. So they never go to the ground. They use a chair for everything. And you could get some ideas so that instead of going to the ground for some of the moves in Transform 20, you can use a chair and you just have an idea of that. But I also modify all the time. A year ago, I was seven weeks postpartum when I started 80-Day Obsession, which is a pretty advanced program. I couldn't do shit. I was so weak. I had like very little strength. I hadn't really been able to have a very active pregnancy because of all the issues that I had. And I still did it, and I got stronger every week. So before you tell yourself you can't do this program, maybe just see if it's your ego saying you can't do it because you can't move as fast as they are on the screen. I can't move as fast as they move on the screen. And this is my 3rd round. So Sean T is a freak of nature. Like he's a beast when it comes to cardio. Nobody can move like him really. So, and if you follow Danielle Natoni, I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she's a friend of mine and on my team, and she is one of the most fit people I know, and she takes breaks and she modifies and she gets winded. So, don't stress it. Just keep moving, do what you can, and you will see progress week after week. And that's one thing I love about the Transformers, those 3 moves that he has you do, because you will see that you are able to do even just 1 more every week, which is really rad to see like the strength in endurance and stuff. So just don't stress, you know, like, and also I will say that I was really frustrated in week 1 when I did this with some of the choreography, just feeling like I don't know how to do these moves and then how to do them fast, but every week you'll get better. So just hang in there with that. All right. Were there any questions? Good. Jen said she's doing Joel's diet bet. And at the end of the month after that, I'm done with the scale. Yeah, there's a lot of things that Beachbody does that I wish they wouldn't. But like also Joel in his Lift 4, he talks about like drinking and having whiskey and whatever, but then he also calls it cheat days. And I'm like, man, can we just stop with like all this diet bullshit? And like really with the scale, really Beachbody, you need to know how much weight we lost. Really, you can't just see us becoming happier and healthier. But I'm now on the coach advisory board, so that will be feedback I will be giving them because I am not a fan of the way they run a lot of things. #1 Beachbody coach, and I am not a fan of the way they run a lot of things. So I'll help them hopefully. I don't know if they'll listen, but I'll tell them. Okay, Jamie said, I heard your lifestyle day breakdown, but wonder about getting in a cycle where lifestyle days outweigh on plan days. So eventually you'll get to a point where there is no on plan and off plan. It will just be living. And maybe that's going to keep you 5 or 10 pounds heavier than your ideal weight. But that also will keep you from feeling like you're in a diet binging cycle or feeling like you have to miss out on things. You'll be able to choose. I feel like I primarily live 100% of my days on my lifestyle plan because veggies do sound good and fruit does sound good and eating clean, good food does sound good a lot of the time because I know the way it makes me feel. I also know when I have a weekend where I go crazy, my workout sucks on Monday and Tuesday because I just don't have the fuel in my body to like really power me through, and that doesn't feel good. I'm not sleeping as well. You know, I feel things when I eat crap all the time. So my lifestyle days don't mean that I'm just YOLOing through. Like, even if you think about that, the lifestyle day where I gave you the breakdown for Mexican food, like, what about that was bad? I had my shake. I got all my veggies in. I got my fruit in, even if one was gelato. I didn't feel deprived all day. Not saying it was easy because I still wanted those margaritas, right? But I basically didn't feel deprived all day, and I was able to live pretty freely. And then I've just gotten to a point where, you know, I don't even think about like boxes to check, or I don't think about like how many servings of green have I had, how many servings of red, how many, like I don't think about it anymore. I'm just able to eat freely, and because there's just no stress around food. So at some point, your lifestyle days will outweigh on-plan days because there won't be such a thing as on and off. You'll just be living. And it's taken me years, probably 2 years or so to get here, and I still regress. I still have struggles. I mean, I'm just talking about it now where I've been YOLOing since Thanksgiving. I've been out of control since Thanksgiving. So, you know, I still have to like get back on, like getting back to being conscious, a conscious eater. So it's always going to be kind of a journey and a practice, and that's okay. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Do you have any tips for someone who feels like they are still hungry with the meal plan? Does the body need to adjust? No, you need to eat more. So if you feel, so make sure you're drinking enough water, make sure you're hydrated. But you see that meme that's like, sometimes when you're hungry, you're really just thirsty. Drink a pitcher of margaritas, make sure you're drinking a lot of water, because hunger can be masked as thirst. But if you're drinking a lot of water and you're hungry, then your body needs the fuel. So then bump up. Go all the way to the next bracket, or you could have like a few extra, you know, whatever. Like the difference between the A and B bracket it's 1 additional carb, 1 additional fruit, 2 additional teaspoons, and then 1 additional red, I think. So that's the difference between like a bracket. And sometimes I eat you know, I'll go all the way up to the next bracket, or sometimes I might just have like the extra protein and fat, or the extra fruit and carb, whatever. So, but I think if you're hungry, you need to eat. As long as you're hydrated, and if you are sleeping well and you're hydrated and you're hungry, then it means your body's actually hungry. If you're, you know, fatigued and you're not sleeping and you're dehydrated and you're hungry, you might not be hungry. You might just be like your body is needing a different resource, which could be water or sleep. So, can you run through a typical day of eating? Can you run through a typical day of eating on plan? Like do you eat Shakeology at the same meal? Do you eat the same lunches a day? Do you eat 6 times a day? That stuff. So for me, what I have found, I've done all different kinds of things. When I was working corporate, I found I liked the 5 or 6 meals a day because it broke up my day. So I would do, you know, breakfast was usually when I was working, it would be Shakeology. And then like 1 snack would be, in the morning might be like Greek yogurt and berries, and maybe some coconut for like the orange container. Lunch would just be, usually it would be like whatever was left over for dinner. So always my dinners and lunch is just like a thing of veggies and a thing of protein and then some carbs. So it might be like chicken breast with sweet potatoes and broccoli. Or it might be a stir fry over quinoa, right? Which has like a bunch of veggies and then like shrimp or chicken or something cut up over quinoa. So that would be dinner and lunch, something like that. Chili with, you know, a piece of cornbread with like a bunch of veggies in the chili or something. Then my afternoon snack would usually be like hummus and veggies, or like usually some sort of veggies with almonds or hummus or veggies and string cheese or something like that. And that would be like a typical day of eating. And they do say that like what I would usually do when I was meal planning, breakfast was always the same. Lunch was usually just leftovers of dinner. And I would make like 3 things for that menu that week. And, you know, I'd have it for dinner and then lunch the next day. And I would do so then you're repeating it like twice. And then 1 meal you eat out or whatever. So I would usually choose like 3 things. It would be like stir fry, spaghetti squash pasta. Marinara sauce was like a big one. It was every week I had stir fry. And then the spaghetti squash pasta is a really good one during the winter. I did taco salads a lot. I love taco salads. Daily harvests are a good thing. Also, if you're like short on time and stuff right now, they're mostly veggies, and then you can add protein to it. Some of them have some carbs, but usually it's like veggies. And yeah, we can just be sharing ideas of what stuff works for you. But that's usually what I did was I didn't try to have like a new thing all the time. And then the other thing that people say is it's good to have repetition. So if like you can stick with it more if you have it. So maybe you do, I got into this phase where I would do like a wrap, like either, some sort of tortilla or lettuce wrap or whatever make like a sandwich, but I like wraps better than sandwiches. And I'd have that for lunch, and then you just have your dinners and still do like 2 or 3 dinners where you can just like cook a couple times, but you make big portions so that you have leftovers. So. And so I did eat a lot more when I was working corporate. Now I prefer to have much bigger meals, but only like 2 to 3 of them. So my shake is one, and then usually I'll have like lunch and dinner, and I get a lot of my containers in at one meal, because I also feel like I work way harder now than I did when I was at Nike, and I don't have time to like stop for six different times and have 6 different meals, but I will, take the time to eat like a nice big lunch and a nice big dinner. But I think, so I don't really subscribe to like I used to, but I don't subscribe to the idea that you have to be eating every 2 to 3 hours to like keep burning fuel or whatever. So if it works better for you to have, 3 meals a day, then do that. As long as you get all your containers in. Jill asked, and I mentioned it yesterday on yesterday's video, but I put a post up every day that is a place where your sweaty selfies should go. So if you're new to the group, I forgot to mention it before, but post your sweaty selfies in the comments of that picture rather than making your own post, because there are so many people in these groups that it can, you miss a lot of things, and I don't want the whole feed to just be sweaty selfie, because some people put like, maybe you have a struggle and you need to come to the community and talk about it and you need advice, but it gets lost because it's just tons of sweaty selfies, or people miss my post because it's tons of sweaty selfies. So, try to put your meals under the meal plan, post that I put up every day. Try to put your sweaty selfies under the sweaty selfie post that I put up every day. And then, that way the feed will be primarily stuff that, you sharing a celebration, you coming and asking for help, things that I put up. And it's not getting diluted with a bunch of like check-ins. I want the check-ins, keep the check-ins coming. I think it's good accountability, but just try to put them in the post. Okay. Just seeing if there's any other questions. Okay, someone said, any tips for getting into personal development? Tried reading self-help books before and have had a hard time getting into them. So I think part of it is finding something that resonates with you, and part of it is, I think of personal development as fitness for the mind, and it's the same way as fitness for the body, where in the beginning, it's an effort. You have to actually consciously choose to show up every day because you're not in the habit of it, and it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel fun, and it's effort. But I really feel like the more you do it, the more you actually crave it. Like you really start to crave personal development. I crave it. I don't even want to read books for fun or listen to the radio anymore. I just want to I just crave it in the same way that like you will start to crave your workouts because you feel that energy endorphin rush after. But finding some books that resonate with you are huge. Listening to podcasts that resonate with you. And then in the beginning, when I was not into this at all, I set a timer, 10 minutes. That's all I could do. I could do 10 minutes at night. And I would get in bed and I would read for 10 minutes, have a timer, and I wasn't allowed to check my phone or do anything on my phone until after the timer was up. So that was my reward. It was like after that I could scroll social media, but I could not until I got my personal development in. And then you just start craving it, right? But it was effort in the beginning. All right, let me go down here. Okay. How about drinks with 21 Day Fix? You mean like alcohol, Erin? Oh, and then, okay, London said, would you say it's better to try to do the moves as close to perfect as you can, or try to keep moving but do them a little bit sloppier? Form is always most important because you don't want to injure yourself. So I wouldn't do sloppy moves, but I would say keep moving, but make sure that you're having good form. Now, there's one move where it's called like X jumps, where you're going over the step. You know, you're like, can you see me? You're like, and my feet get all jumbled and whatever. So that's not really like a form move, because you're not, whatever. So I'm just trying to move during that. But there are some moves where, like if you're doing anything in plank or anything like that, you want to make sure, or like lunges and squats and stuff like that, make sure you're protecting your knees and protecting your back and stuff like that. Drinks. Yeah. So drinks are usually my yellow container. Now I am a sugar person, but, generally I would rather have like a glass of wine or a cocktail over like cake or, dessert. So, yeah, you're more than welcome to replace your use your treats for drinks. Yes, Julie said, is it true recover doesn't count as a red? Yeah, the whole performance line is free as long as you use it when you're supposed to. So energize right before your workout, hydrate during your workout, recover post-workout. I've never used the creatine, so I don't know how you use that, but it will say on the container. And then the recharge is before bed. Those are all free if you want to. And yeah, Ashley asked if group workout on Saturday. So, what is a zero carb drink? Deanna, what is a zero carb? If that's alcohol, yeah, you still count it as a yellow. Because alcohol inhibits like fat, like it has an effect on your body. So even if it's zero carb, but if you're talking about like, I don't know, a Zevia drink or something where it's like zero everything, then I don't count that as a yellow, yeah, so more to come on the Saturday thing. It's just going to be the balance workout. I'd like to pick a time that we can do it. Maybe it's like 8 a.m. Pacific. I know that's going to be late for people on the East Coast, but I like to do live workouts Saturday if we can. All right, I got to run because I got to go film, record. I always say film, but record the next week's podcast episode. Oh, vodka club soda. But that's not a zero carb drink. Vodka still has carbs. Might be low, but alcohol does mess with your system. So you definitely want to count it as a yellow, which sucks. But yeah. Okay, you guys. Well, that was a productive, solid hour. Hopefully this was helpful. Not all calls are going to be this packed full of information, but I just wanted to make sure we covered off on a lot of stuff on this first one. They're also not always going to be an hour, but I love you guys. I thank you guys for trusting me with your journey. I have already seen people complaining about the size of the group, and I am sorry for that, but it's the only way that I am able to help as many people as I can. So plug into the community, use the community. Don't only listen to me. There are people I have been literally working with for years that are in these groups. The community is one of my favorite parts of it because some people will be like, can you turn off all the posts? No, I want you guys to interact with each other. I don't want you only interacting with me. I love the community. I love the friendships that have come out of it. I understand that there's going to be some frustration about how big the group is, but it's wasted energy because I'm not changing it. I'm not ever going to limit the groups because I want to help people when they're ready to be helped. So, however, if I am not the coach for you, I have no hard feelings. If you need a smaller group, you are welcome to switch coaches. I will miss you, but you're welcome to. But I am thankful that you guys chose me and you trusted me, and I'm excited for the rest to go through 5.5 more weeks together. So I'll get this recording up if any of you hopped on late, and I'll see you soon. Bye.